Okay, so when Rhonda and I started talking about our training topics, the thing that always kind of sticks with me this time of year is how do I welcome my new recruits? We're selling starter kits faster during this time, and I see a big spike in downline at this time of the year. And then, you know, you're getting flooded with emails. How do I do this? How do I do that? And they need help. So I have worked to try to create a system to onboard or welcome my new recruits and get them off to a good start, because it can be intimidating. You know, did he go the other way? I have been a demonstrator for 10 years, and I don't even remember what it was like. When I got that email, what did I do? Did I log in? What happened? I don't even remember. But now, some of you may be newer and you may remember, it can be overwhelming for them to even log in for the first time. So Rhonda and I have done lots of talking about how it's important to really help them, because if we don't help them, then what's the point of them buying a starter kit? I want to start off with a why. Why, and I'm sure you've thought this, and I'm sure you've heard this, but why would I sell the starter kit to somebody? What's in it for me? What's the what's the benefit? Because sometimes you're losing your best customer to that starter kit. Well, there's several things, and I actually have, of course, everything that I know I learned from Rhonda, right? But I also pulled from several places online too for some of these. The first thing is to grow your income. We talk about this in my team all the time. Sometimes it's really hard to get your head to wrap around that compensation plan. For some reason, it's hard to just digest it when you look on paper. But when you start to see it in action, it really is amazing. And you can really make money. I always say, like, real money from things in our compensation plan. And one of them is for a qualified recruit. A qualified recruit is when your downline has made $900 in sales. That's it. It can be theirs, it can be somebody else's, it can be whatever. But when they hit that $900 in sales, they become qualified. And qualified means nothing to them, really. They don't get a notification, they don't get a prize, they don't get anything. But you get something, because Stampin' Up! Knows that for a recruit to get to $900 in sales, somebody has helped them. Somebody is there supporting them, and typically it's you. So when a recruit becomes qualified, you get 5,000 flex points, which isn't money yet, but right, we can use that for things. When you get 5 qualified recruits, that's when you get money, $700. I mean, that's a lot of money. $700 is, a big something. I always think of, like, what can I buy with that? Where could we go? Is that a trip? So when you get 5 of those recruits to spend or sell $900, you then get $700. And then for everyone after that, you get $300 for each one. That's a lot of money. So now we're talking money, right? And we all would like extra money, pay our bills to support our habit and all of that. So that's reason number one. The second reason is to help others grow and develop their business. There's something very rewarding in growing people, helping them succeed, helping them to make money, to pay bills, to support their family, to support their habit. So that's the second reason. And maybe that's not as fun as getting money, but it feels very good. It feels good to support. And some of you, that's like, your strength is to help others, and it feels really good when you can see those people succeeding and being happy that they bought that starter kit. The third reason goes back to you, and it's to enjoy greater personal growth. As your team grows and as they sell, as they do these things, you can promote, right? Because we know our promotions rest on the backs of our downline, really, how our downline succeed. You need silver elites to promote up, as you move up. And it can also help you earn that incentive trip. So if you had 5 people qualified, that's 5,000, 25,000 flex points, and that goes a long way towards earning the incentive trip. So those are the reasons why you really want to get a system in place. I will be the first one to tell you that in the beginning, I was like, all right, you're a demonstrator now. Good luck, have fun, go forth and order your stuff. I thought, oh, they know everything now. But they don't. They've just bought something. They don't know anything else. So you really have to kind of sit down and figure out, how am I going to help them learn the ropes, right? So the first thing I do when I see that awesome email in my email box that says new team member, I get very excited. I have a welcome email that I have saved. I go over, I copy it, and I paste it into an email straight to them. So I don't have to come up with anything. One time I type, I figure out what I want to say. I also add on to that email this quick start tracker, which I'm going to give you guys. Just taken together. And a copy of a longer welcome letter. My email is like two little paragraphs. Welcome, so glad you've joined. I hope that you will join our Facebook group. Here's a link to that. Here's a link to our team blog. Let me know if you need any questions, or let me know if you have questions when you get your starter kit. Short and sweet. But then I also attach a longer letter that kind of tells them about me, hits a few high points, because I don't want to overwhelm them at first. They probably won't read all through that right away, and that's fine. Then, because we know how email can be, I also mail them a welcome card. And I include this printed out as well as my welcome letter. Same thing I attach to that email, just telling them a little bit about me, about the benefits of my team, when my next team meeting is, and I snail mail, send it to them in a card. Then before I actually send that email, and then I copy their email address and I go right to my Facebook group and I add them to my Facebook group. I send that invite. Now, Facebook is super weird, you guys know. Sometimes it sends them the invite, sometimes they never get it. Sometimes they click on that invite and it'll say, link no longer exists or something. So I have to watch over the next couple days to make sure they've actually joined my group. And then I can reach out and see, help them. That's like the very first thing you can do, is make sure that they get in your Facebook group. Our team Facebook group is great because it's not just me, it's not the Erica show, it's everybody else posting, asking questions, sharing things, and that kind of helps them get involved right away and to see that, there's other people to help them. I always, once I see that they've joined the group, I do a welcome post. Everybody say hello to so-and-so, she just joined the Sweet Stampede, and my girls are so good, she'll have like 20 comments. Welcome, we're so glad you're here, and I always say, this is a great place to ask questions, because sometimes I don't check my email for 5 or 6 hours, and you are gonna get a faster answer here in our group than you would waiting in my inbox. So I make sure that they feel welcome, because they might be scared to post something the first time. So I've sent them a welcome card. The next thing is to see if you can sit down with them and help them set up their demo account. Rhonda has told me, because Rhonda has done this recently, that it's very confusing when they first log in. They try to log in, Stampin' Up! Sends them that email with their demo ID, and as soon as you go over to log in, it wants your routing number, it wants you, it's like asking for your firstborn child. They feel like, oh my God, what's happening here? So they might abandon it because they feel like this feels wrong. Why are they wanting my bank routing number? Well, it's because they want to pay you. If somebody buys something, they need to be able to deposit it. So if you sit down with them to do that, you'll be able to kind of smooth those waters and explain all of that to them and make it easier. Then, one thing I want to just interject here is there's so much that we could tell them, right? I mean, we could tell them 5 pages worth of stuff we think they need to know. But that is too much. Their heads are going to be spinning. They're going to hear like the first 2 things you say, and then if we try to overwhelm them. So I try to just give them little bits of information as we go along. So after we've got them all logged into the demo account, demo side of the website, I think the most important thing is for them to know how to put their order in, because their wish list is probably still long, because the starter kit was not only $125 worth of stuff, right? It's not going to be everything. So I want them to be able to put in their first order and get their discount. So I quickly and briefly show them demonstrator order, workshop order. Those are really the 2 that they need to know, and explain the difference. And then that usually will spark questions, and I don't want to go into all the differences and all the screens and all that, but I want them to see where it is, and then whatever questions they have, that'll kind of lead the conversation, lead to what else, how much information they actually want. explain why they need their routing information. Rhonda always has a great response. You know, if your friend orders something from you, Stampin' Up's gonna pay you for that, and they have to have a place to give you your money. That's the only reason they want your bank account. They are not gonna take money out of your bank account. They're going to put money in your bank account. The other very important thing is to tell them to click the box. You guys know what I'm talking about? The locator, the demonstrator finder. It's kind of in a weird place. It's up there, you click on their name. It's one of the little things there in that drop box. Click on that and tell them if you want somebody to be able to find you when they search your zip code, because sometimes, Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Sometimes they think, sometimes you will get a random order from somebody in your area because they want to order something, they just type in their zip code, and you would appreciate that. So let them know that's what that's for. A lot of times I'll get an email from someone who's been around a few months, and she'll say, my friend wants to order and she looked for me and I'm not coming up. Why am I not listed? And that's why, because I haven't communicated that clearly enough. So make sure that they've done that and they've clicked. There's 2 different boxes. I give a short tour. I show them where the current updates are. Every Tuesday, come check your current updates. I show them the little box down on the right, you know, your quick stats and how you know how much you need to meet for your quarterly minimum. Stampin' University, if they're so inclined and they want to read and watch more, I want them to know it's there. Quick Start. Quick Start is important, and that's why I've mailed it, I've emailed it, and I want to show them the details on the website. Because if they're going to do Quick Start, they're also going to become qualified quickly. And we've already seen at the beginning why you want them to become qualified. So you can explain that to them. And they may not care, it may not entice them, but some people, like me, who, you know, I have a carrot dangled in front of me and I'm gonna be all over it. But if they don't know, they won't go after it. So make sure they know about Quick Start. DBWS is free for the first 2 months. Is that right? I always forget the details. Free for the first 2 months, and I wanna make sure that they know that. And I think right now it's free to anybody for their first 2 months, not just when you're a new demonstrator, because of the new, you know, all the updates. They want everybody to try it. So make sure they know that's available for them as well. Okay, so that would be all. I would not go into every inventory status report. You might want to show them that if that's important, you know, if you think that might be important to them, if they do want to do a class. But again, don't overwhelm them. Little small bites of information. There's a post over on our leaders board. People were talking about what they do to onboard, and one girl even says she has a series of 9 emails that she has written, and she sends one the first week, one the second week, one the third week. Just little bits of information comes to them once a week for the first 9 weeks. So if you're super organized and you can get that together, that would be awesome. I think that's a great idea, but it's going to require some advanced planning, calendar reminders and stuff like that on your part. But I think that's a great information. So it's a slow drip of information, not that overwhelming bombardment of, you've got to know all this and promoting and you know, because that's just going to make them completely shut down. Then the next important thing is to personally invite them to your team meeting. There was, and I think I wrote this quote down, yeah. So I heard this somewhere, not even, I don't think it was even related to Stampin' Up, but it says that research proves that they will stay longer if they feel they're a part of a community. In any part of life, if you feel like you're part of a community, you're more likely to stay for the long haul. You know, like if you go to the gym and you feel like you don't know anybody, it feels weird, you're very unlikely to go back. But if you go to the gym, you go to a class and you make a friend, and then you make another friend, and you've made a community, you're much more likely to go back to the gym, right? Because you have people there. Same thing with team meetings. And I laugh, my friend Terry in there, she's my longest downline, I won't say oldest, longest downline, and she always says, I have way too much stuff, but how could I ever leave our group? How could I ever stop being a demonstrator? Because then I would have to give up all of this. So creating that will keep your downline invested and keep them plugged in and staying, hopefully becoming qualified, promoting, recruiting, all of that when they feel like they're part of your community. So personally inviting them to your team meeting, crucial. They it's hard to go to a meeting when you don't know anybody, right? To walk into somebody's house and you don't really know anybody, that's really hard. So if they personally know that you're expecting them, that you want them there, that will hopefully get them there. And then once they're there, how could they not want to come back, right? Your team meeting's going to be fun, you're going to stamp, there's going to be celebrations, and just getting, I'm one of those people who has a hard time walking into a new place where there's people I don't know. So I always think about that. I want to make it as easy as possible for them to come be a part of our group, because I know as soon as we get them, they're not going to want to leave. As soon as we can show them how much fun we have. And then at the team meeting, make sure that you formally introduce them. So they're not just, standing there and nobody's talking to them. Make sure you're introducing them. You go out of your way to hook them up with somebody you know who's a social butterfly who will encourage them and talk to them while they're there. A week later, about the time they're supposed to get their starter kit, check in with them. Make sure they got it. Make sure everything was right. Make sure they're excited. Then you can even invite them to come stamp with you. And that's when you can do a little tour of the website even, but it's just a little one-on-one hour maybe where they come stamp with you and then look at the tour could be very beneficial for them. Plan their first event. That's a scary thing to do, your very first event. But if your downline or your upline is there with you all along the way, helping you figure out pricing, helping you figure out who to invite, where to find people, maybe even help you design the projects, be there the day with you, it's gonna be way easier. And we all know that feeling. After a successful event, you're kind of that euphoria, right? You're so excited, you got 5 orders, everybody had fun, and you want to do it again. Well, if we can create that for our recruits, our new downline, for their first event to be successful, then they're going to continue to be successful. So partnering with them and helping them with that first event is really, really powerful. Let's see. Okay, so make sure they've been added to your team page. Also, I forget to do this. Tell them about demo planning page. That's another Facebook group. Although, I always say it's social media, so take it with a warning. You'll see some gripers on there, as you will everywhere, but you'll also see lots of information, lots of inspiration. So make sure they get added to that, and get them added to their area page. Where I live, I can never remember what it's called, Midwest South. So each area has their own Facebook group. Get them added to that. The more they're plugged in, the more likely they're going to stay focused and stay wanting to continue to do this and not just buy that starter kit and then be done. I wrote it down here again. Don't overwhelm them. We want to tell them about promoting. We want to tell them about flex points. We want to tell them about the incentive trip. We want to tell them about all the rules. Don't do it all at the beginning. That's something that can be that slow drip. They learn something at the team meeting. Then you send out a team email with some more information in it. Then maybe you send them a personal email. Just really try not to overwhelm them, because even me, 10 years, I still feel overwhelmed by details. I still have to go back and look things up, and I can't remember what this is or what's the rule about this. So if we try to give them all that detail at the beginning, it's going to be a disaster. So then, when they become qualified, back to the beginning, nothing happens for them. There's no promotion, there's no bonus, there's no good job. But you get rewarded. So why not take that opportunity to reward them from you? There's lots of different ways to do this. Some people give them an embellishment, or just lots of different ways. And you can say, congratulations, you're halfway to Bronze Elite. That's how I like to phrase it. Not, congratulations, you earned me 5,000 flex points, thank you very much. Because that's kind of stinky. But rewarding them, letting them know that they're halfway to a promotion. They may not even have any clue that, whoa, what did I do? There's a promotion? What? My discount goes up when I promote? So making some kind of celebration about it. Now, it's not a promotion, so that's why I don't, when my girls promote, they get a little locket. So it's not big like that, but you're halfway there, keep going. And what I have started doing is giving them this. This is their little reward. I tie a little bow on it, And I give it to them and say, congratulations, you're halfway to Bronze Elite. Here's a little reference in case you're wondering, you have questions, and you want to know how to really do more with your demonstratorship. So, I've just started this a couple months ago, and I've had a really good response. Most of my downline now are long distance, so I mail it to them. And they'll send me an email like, thank you so much. Wow, that was so nice. And I'm like, okay. But it's really, if you haven't looked at the MyReady reference, you should order one. It really is just little chunks of information touching on all that overwhelming information. And I feel like it's a really good kind of a little gateway into all the information. So you could even tie a pack of pearls to it. You know, just something little card. I'm so glad you're on my team. You're doing great. Okay, so just a few more things. Follow up. Watch your reports. It took me years to figure out that I needed to watch my reports. I mean, it really, I was very slow on the uptake on all of this. But if you just keep an eye on your reports, I am obsessive with my reports now. I check them multiple times a day, which is a little sick. But check them once a week. See what they're doing. If they're like at, $1,750, they're $50 away from promoting, you can reach out and tell them. I think more times than not, when I reach out to tell somebody they're close to a promotion, they have no idea. They have no idea. It always shocks me that they didn't know, because I almost sometimes feel like, oh, I don't want to appear pushy, but it's usually the opposite. They're like, what? Oh my gosh, thank you for telling me, I didn't know. So reach out, follow up on all of those things. If you're really good and you're organized, you can keep up with their quick start as they go. You're so much away from earning that first reward on the quick start. Because a lot of times, I always laugh and I say, I eat, breathe, live Stampin' Up. Like, it's all day for me. But it's not all day for everybody. Not everybody is checking their reports 100 times a day, So people have jobs, they have lives. This is not their full-time job. So reaching out to them, letting them know they're close to things. They may not have even thought about Stampin' Up because their work week was so crazy. But then Saturday morning, if they can put in an order and it means that they've promoted or they've earned quick start, that could be exciting and something that is kind of an escape from the crazies of the week. Build a relationship with them is super important. Again, I go back to that community. If they feel a part of that community, they are going to stick around. And if they feel like you care about them, they're going to stick around. When I first earned the incentive trip, it was by the skin of my teeth. And I needed promotions to get there. And I look back on it and I don't think I handled it the right way, because I don't ever want anybody to feel like my success is resting on them. Like they have to put in an order so Erica can go to Maui. So you have to think about those things. But if you have a relationship with somebody, a friendship, that relationship where they know that you care about them more than just the money part, then they're going to want to help you when those things do arise. And it'll be more exciting for them because they love you, because you're their friend. So work on building those relationships. And don't be like me and be like, you're good, have fun with that starter kit, because they won't. Be patient, because sometimes it's like teaching kindergarten. When I taught kindergarten, we have to remember that they don't know things that we think are common sense. You can't send stamped images in a kit. They may not know that, right? So be patient with them. Be patient if they stamp your black inked stamp in your yellow stamp pad. They're new. It's okay. And build that relationship. Be patient, be kind, and supportive. And the last thing I said is never be pushy or overbearing. Because I do look back sometimes and worry that I was a little bit too much like that in the beginning. All right, does that give you guys some ideas? I think the biggest takeaway is to build that relationship and let them know that you care and that you want them to get the most out of their starter kit. If they buy that starter kit and do nothing else, then they haven't even scratched the surface of the benefits of buying that starter kit, which we know is much more than just getting $25 for free. Do you guys have questions? No?
I missed this. That start chapter, is that on the website?
So,
Or did you create it?
I did not create it. It was shared on our Midwest South demonstrator page. I don't know who created it, but I have it saved on my computer, and I would be more than happy to share it with you guys. You know what? I'll put it on our Facebook group so you guys can see it. It's beautiful. I used to have one that I sent out that was super ugly. And then Deborah typed one up that was pretty, and then someone shared this, and I think maybe Chad might have created this, I'm not sure. But it's good, and you can even write their start date in there, their quick start date, you know, so they'll know, and then you can have it in your record too, so you'll know, okay, I need to send them an email a week before this date and remind them that they're a week away from their quick start.
I do have a question. I've had two people sign up because of the baby mini color
Yes.
and the great thing that's going on. They were both demonstrators before, let it go, and now they've signed back up. But they both said,
Yeah.
I'm signing up because I want that as soon as this is over, then I'm back buying from you.
Yeah.
That's okay, but
Yeah.
how do you encourage them not to just do it for that?
That's hard, and I don't think we'll ever completely get away from kidnappers, which is what we call them, because it's okay. There's no consequence of doing that. Stampin' Up! Knows that. They've set it up like that. I think the biggest thing is that community. There needs to be a benefit for them. Like, why would it be better for me to be your downline than your customer? And our team meeting, I think, is a pretty big benefit. All the rewards and prizes that I send out, I think that would be a pretty big benefit. But money talks, and for them to be able to see when they put their order in how it's less 20%, that might really be, if you can sit down with them and show them, hey, if you're gonna give me that $100 order, if you go put it in under your number, you're gonna save $20. And you could even order $20 more worth of stuff for the same amount. I would try that approach. There are gonna be people who, no matter what you say, they don't care. And that's fine, And I have those people, and they rejoin about every 6 months, and that's fine. But I think it's very overwhelming, the members part of it, the compensation plan, the how to put an order in, all that can just turn people off, and it's much easier for me to be a customer than a demonstrator. But if we smooth that path for them, help them get past those technology difficulties, and see that they can do that and they can save money, and then if we can get them to that 25% discount, that's even better. So that's what I would suggest. It's a good question, because we always have them. Rhonda said the other day she really works for a 90% qualified rate, getting her downline 90% of them to be qualified, and that's amazing. Mine is not nearly that high, but I think we all should make that our goal. And I think if we really set up a system, it'll increase that number. Yeah.
Are you onboarding all 3 levels?
That's a great question. So all 3 levels I treat the same. However, my team's gotten so big. I think it was maybe last celebration or the celebration before, I sent an email out to my leaders, and I was like, you guys, I'm getting overwhelmed, because I was getting tons of emails from people asking questions, how do I do that? And I said, I need help. So I really worked on making sure my leaders were equipped to welcome their recruit in. And I also did kind of explain to my team, all 3 levels, that to some of you, I'm grandma, and some of you, I'm great grandma. So always try to go to your team leader. I don't send them, if there's my 2nd or 3rd level, I don't send them that email, but I do send them a card in the mail with a welcome letter. And I leave it up to their upline to add them to our team group. But then after that, I do add them to my email list. I do, they are a part of our, everything. They can have all the benefits. But I really spend the majority of my time focusing on my recruits and making sure that they,
So which of the ready reference go out?
That's a great question. That's new that I've just started, and I decided that I'm only sending that to my 1st level. Do I send the ready reference to all 3 levels? The reason I did that is because I have a law that qualifies, and I worried about the expense of that. And, I tried to decide, was that an expense that I felt like was worth investing in? And the reason I decided my 1st level only is because I don't have a relationship really with many of my second or third levels, especially those long distance. So I can't really, explain why I'm giving, it just felt too,
It's very, very unusual why your leaders do that with Erica.
Right.
That would be something that you could encourage them to do
Yeah.
with their qualified.
and the other thing in my thinking, there's two reasons. One, I don't get anything directly from a qualified recruit in my second or third level. I do get something directly from my qualified recruit. So I feel like I'm taking a little bit of that reward and giving it back to them. And then the second reason is there's been some issues with some second and third level people using my benefits to recruit, because then if they sign up under them, they get my benefits and their benefits. So I in my little world am trying to tweak my system a little bit so that there are benefits just for a few benefits that are just for my first level, so that there are a few unique. We've spent a lot of time talking about this, and I'm having trouble deciding, because the reason why we benefit second and third level is because someday they may be our first level, and also because when they succeed, so does their upline and their upline, and it trickles up. But there's been some things happening in the last year that I feel like I've got to have a few things that are just for my directs, and so that was one of them. Yeah. Yeah, Heather.
Something I learned that's kind of, the whole rolling sales thing is very confusing,
Very.
especially to new recruits.
Yes.
So I had 2 gals sign up during celebration last year.
Yes.
Getting really close to making bronze elite. So I'm watching their reports, of course they're not watching their
Right.
reports. And so I actually spoke with both of them and said, okay, so right now you're $200 from bronze elite. If you purchase by the end of January, you're gonna make bronze elite by spending $200 or selling $200.
Yeah.
If you wait until the end of February, that
It's-
number's gonna go up to $600.
Right.
And so they actually appreciated it.
Yes.
It didn't come across as pushy, it came across as, look, I'm saving you $400
Yes.
and now you're gonna get your discounts. It's gonna
Yes.
go up. So when you get to that year
That's a great
point, it's
suggestion.
a good time to really look at your reports
That's
and see where your people are.
That is a great suggestion, because I did lose a downline one time because of that. I had sent her an email, explained she only needed, $100 to promote that month. Well, she waited till the next month, and then it was $400, and I didn't clearly communicate that. So that is really, really, really important to communicate that. And then she was furious at me because I hadn't explained it right. So rolling sales is so confusing, and I have a hard time even verbalizing it. But just if you guys were looking, there's an amazing video on the demo planning page that the DDMs did. If you search demo planning place for rolling sales video, Natalie White put it out, and it shows people like getting out of line and going to the end. It's an amazing visual. So if you ever need help explaining that to your new downline, send them that video. But because it is so confusing, and they can get really kind of screwed. I hate to say that, but I mean, if they wait a month, it could go up another $500 because their sales that month last time was $400 or whatever. That's really important. Anything else? Yes.
What kind of benefits do you give only to your first level?
Well, that's evolving right now. Right now, it's the My Ready reference, and there was one other thing. Well, I send only my first level welcome card. I think right now that's it, but that's something I'm working on. I don't want to take anything away from my second and third level, but I want my first level to know that I appreciate them buying the starter kit from me. It's a very fine line, because of those I've had it happen. Second and third levels can bump up and end up being in your first level. So I don't know. It's evolving. Ask me in a year. Ask me in a
You
year.
don't want to have much. You want to have a unified team. So
Yeah.
yes, you want to make what she's doing is perfect. I know maybe sometimes for a silver elite reception or something, your directs might get something more special
Yes.
because you make a lot more money from them. But at the end of the day, you want to treat all 3 levels the same. You need to grow strong and wide and not just top heavy.
Your second level, or your first level, who you need to promote, can't promote unless their second level promotes, and maybe unless their third level promote, or your third level promotes. So it's really important to nurture all 3. you know, and it's just a constant work in progress, I think, figuring out the right ways to do things to benefit your team. And I think for the most part, it's just overall better to do all 3 levels, because not everybody's going to do what you do, and your leaders may not have the time, the energy, the whatever, and they may not reward their downline at all, and then that stinks, you know. So that's why I really try to just carry it through my 3 levels. All right, you guys.